Last year, I married my best friend and took some of my all-time favorite photos ever, like this one, and I wanted to turn one of my wedding photos into something a bit more special to hang in our home. So when I heard about Paint Your Life, I was excited to try it out. It was really easy to fill out the form, and yes, it is a real painting, done by hand by a real artist. It's the perfect gift for a wedding, a birthday, an anniversary, anything. You'd expect a custom item like this to be scary expensive, but it's a truly affordable way to make a gift memorable, and there's no risk to you. If you don't love your final painting as much as I did, then you get a full refund. And right now, as a limited time offer, get 30% off your painting. That's right, 30% off and free shipping. To get this special offer and to see my painting, text SS to 484848. Message and data rates may apply. And now, back to the show.
Hey, I'm Sapphire.
Want to hear something scary?
My new friend.
The following is based on a story submitted by Ollie. What I'm about to tell you is going to sound impossible, and honestly, if it didn't actually happen to me, I probably wouldn't believe me either. I'm sort of known for being a little theatrical. I can't help it, I just love entertaining my friends. So one day after class, I was telling another one of my ridiculous stories to my classmates who had all gathered around me. And among them was a new face, a boy I hadn't seen before. He looked a little nervous. He kept glancing around at everyone and lightly giggling along. I figured he must have been new. I finished my story and everyone dispersed. Everyone except the new kid. So I introduced myself. Hi, I'm Ollie. Eric, he replied, rather robotically. Are you new here? Yes. Cool. Well, I'm headed that direction. Do you want to join me? Yes. As we walked and talked, Eric seemed to warm up a bit. I asked him where he transferred from, and he said that he'd been homeschooled up until recently. I just want to be a normal kid, he said. And I'll do anything I can to help, I told him. I told him that he could join me in all my after-school activities and hang out with me and my friends. And so he did. Over the next month, we spent a lot of time together. We both auditioned for the school musical. I got a lead, but Eric didn't, so he became a techie behind the scenes instead. Then one week, Eric told me that he was going to throw a party at his place while his parents were out. He told me that he was going to invite people individually because he didn't want too many people finding out. I thought it was a little bit of overkill, but I respected his wishes and didn't tell any of my friends about the party. Friday night came. I knocked on his apartment door. I remember thinking it was eerily quiet and thought that I had arrived too early. Eric opened the door and welcomed me in. And I was immediately confused. Not only was nobody else there was nothing else. No furniture, no fridge or stove, basic apartment things. There was none of it. It was completely empty. The door slammed shut and the lock slid into place. Where's all your stuff? I asked, hesitantly. Stuff? He asked, with a genuine look of confusion on his face. You know, like tables and chairs? Oh, so houses need tables and chairs. Thanks for the note, Eric replied. That's why I like you, Ollie. You would do anything to help me. I started to feel a little lightheaded. My vision began to blur.
I'm only going to borrow you for a little bit,
if that's okay.
It was slowly getting harder and harder to breathe. I was too weak to say anything. I fell to the ground, unconscious. When I came to, I looked around. Eric was nowhere. I had no idea how long I was out for, but I remember thinking that it only felt like 10 minutes or so had passed. I made a run for the door and ran back home. I found my mom in the living room. Mom, there's something I need to tell you. There's our star. How was the show tonight? My mom asked. What are you talking about? Closing night, silly. Did it go well? The musical isn't for like 6 months, Mom. My mom laughed at me. I pulled out my phone to check the date, but it was dead. I grabbed my mom's. 6 months. It had been 6 months since I fell unconscious in Eric's empty apartment. How is that possible? I tried to explain everything that happened to me about Eric and the weird apartment, but my mom thought I was just trying to be funny. The worst part is, I asked my friends the next morning about Eric, and they all acted like he never existed. They think that I'm making up everything for attention, but they hung out with him. He was real. I don't know how this happened, but I do know that wasn't me for the last 6 months. It was Eric, living my life without my permission. And I have no idea where he is right now. So please, please, be careful out there.
If you're looking for even more Snarled content, head on over to the Popface app. From September 19th to the 24th, I'll be hosting a contest in my Popcade in the Black Eyed Children game. The winners at the top of the leaderboard will win cool in-game prizes. Download Popface and get playing.
I always felt like my parents didn't like me. I never really knew why for sure, but I thought it was because I was a boy and they had always wanted a girl. So when my sister Lauren was born 10 years after me, my slightly older parents were very surprised, but also ecstatic. Our prayers to Satan worked, they joked sometimes. She was clearly my parents' favorite, and I resented her for it. On top of that, she was a creepy little kid, always sneaking up behind me, trying to scare me, or staring at me for no reason. And she had this annoying imaginary friend. Before Lauren did anything, she had to ask Lucy if she had his permission. I had always thought imaginary friends were a kind of coping mechanism for loneliness, but Lucy seemed kind of mean. I thought it was weird that Lauren would create an imaginary friend that seemed so unpleasant. But Lauren was a weird kid. So on her 6th birthday, we visited a very expensive theme park and stayed at the lavish hotel nearby. My parents pulled out all the stops for this trip. They bought her tons of souvenirs from the gift shop, hats, shirts, a fancy collectible letter opener and coin, even a giant stuffed animal of Padraic, the theme park mascot. Meanwhile, I turned Sweet 16 at home with no fanfare. Anyway, after our first day at the park, we settled into our rooms. My parents were staying in the room connected to us, and Lauren and I had a room all to ourselves. And Lucy, I guess. I was ready to curl up with my book on my bed. Lauren was on the other side of the room, playing with her brand new toys and mumbling to herself, as usual. I was so focused on my book that I was able to completely tune Lauren out. But not for long. After a few minutes, I could hear her breathing heavily right by my bed. I told her to go away and play on her own, and she did. Then another few minutes went by and she was right back at my bed. She looked kind of scared, but I was so annoyed that I didn't care. Ugh, can you please just go away? I shouted at her. Her face contorted into a frown as she headed back to her side of the room again. She continued mumbling to herself, even louder this time. 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes had passed and I was deep in my book. Then I heard Lauren near me again. No, I'm not going to do it. Stop it. No! I looked up from the pages and she was standing right by my bed again, holding her sharp souvenir letter opener over my head. And then I saw something even more horrifying. I saw what I assumed was Lucy. He was a hideous, scaly humanoid creature hovering behind my sister like a puppet master, controlling a marionette. I could see the pain in Lauren's eyes as she was trying to fight Lucy's grip. And suddenly, it all made sense to me. All her odd behavior, she wasn't trying to hurt me. She was trying to do the opposite. Waves of guilt rushed over me, and I regretted hating my sister for so many years. Just as I was about to grab the letter opener from her hands, she said, "Take me instead!" And the blade plunged into her tiny body. I began screaming my head off, and my parents rushed into the room. They saw me hovered over my sister's bleeding body, and their already existing disdain for me became even more apparent. I tried to explain that I didn't do it and that it was all Lucy's fault, and their fault for selling their soul to Lucifer in the first place. But it was no use trying to explain. So that's why I'm here, locked away. No clue for how long. My parents never visit. They finally got rid of me, just like I'm pretty sure they always wanted. But they also lost their little girl. And honestly, I'm a little worried that they're gonna try for another one again.
Once there were two young sisters, Annie and Belle. They lived in a small house in the country with their kind and gentle mother. They loved to explore and play in the fields surrounding their home. One day, the sisters came across another young girl playing by herself in the road. She was beating on a very curiously designed drum. And as she played, a little mechanical man and woman came out of the other end and danced. The girls were mesmerized by the unique toy and begged the stranger to give it to them, who looked back at them and laughed. "This is a very special toy," the little girl said. "If I were to give it away, it would have to be in exchange for something big." "Well, what do you want for it?" Annie asked. "You have to go back home and be very bad. Come back tomorrow and tell me all the bad things you did, and then I might give you my toy. Deal?" "Deal." The sisters agreed and headed back to their house. "What if we just told her we did bad things?" Annie suggested. "It's not like she'd know anyway, right?" So the next day, the sisters went back to the spot in the road where they met the girl the other day. "We were very bad," Belle lied. "Yeah," Annie chimed in. "We wrote all over our walls, we threw our supper on the floor, and we screamed all night. Now can we have the drum?" "Not so fast," the girl said. "I know that you're lying to me. Come back tomorrow and bring proof that you were very, very bad, and then I'll give you my toy. Deal?" "Deal." The sisters agreed again and walked away, annoyed, while the girl giggled at them. By the time they got back home, their mother was still away at work. They decided to be very bad before she got home so that they could clean up and explain everything to her. They tore up pillows and mutilated their stuffed animals. They smashed their mother's favorite vase and gathered the pieces. Surely this would be enough for the little girl to give them the drum, they thought. They took the torn up pillows and pieces of vase and brought it to the girl. "We made a horrible mess," Annie said proudly. "We even broke our mother's favorite expensive vase. Now can we have the drum?" The little girl rolled her eyes. "You both clearly don't know what bad is. You should just go back home." She turned her back towards the sisters and continued playing with her drum. "Just tell us what we should do," Annie shouted. The girl slowly turned back around. She reached inside her drum and pulled out a small glass vial and a blade. "Bring me your mother's blood." "Let's get out of here, sister," Annie said. "That toy is not worth all this trouble." As they turned to leave, the little girl called after them, her voice much deeper than it was before.
Once you've made a pact, you cannot turn back. I will be taking something of yours.
The sisters picked up their pace and sprinted all the way back home. They called for their mother, but she wasn't there. In fact, nothing was in their home. No furniture, no rooms. Just a big, open, cavernous wooden space and one door leading outside. And then the walls began to resonate. The roof was vibrating in a familiar rhythm. The sisters ran out the door, only to find their movements stiffen. Their bodies had become rigid and wooden as they moved their limbs involuntarily to the beat. Above them, the little girl, not so little anymore, beating on the drum.
Thank you to all of our patrons. If you'd like to join our VIP program, visit patreon.com/snarled.
I love horror and diving into dark content, but even I need a break sometimes. And when I need a mental palate cleanser, I play Best Fiends. So Best Fiends is a casual mobile app, and anyone can play. It's great for casual gamers. It's great for hardcore gamers, too. I'm a huge fan of puzzle games, and Best Fiends adds, it's a very cute and unique twist. I mean, it involves bugs and slugs. There's a Slugageddon that's involved with it. And I'm not kidding. I'm kind of hooked on the game. Before I recorded this, I did 18 levels right here on my phone. So I'm a little bit behind on work, but I kind of love it. And I really enjoy the different characters that you can collect, and you also upgrade them. Super easy to learn. The hard part is putting it down. So Best Fiends is updated monthly with new levels and events. So there's always something new for you. It never gets old. And because it doesn't require internet to play, which I love, you can seriously play it anywhere, on a road trip, in an underground coffin, or even from the grave. You can engage your brain with fun puzzles, and you collect tons of cute characters. Just download this 5-star rated mobile game for free on the Apple App Store or Google Play. That's Friends, without the R, Best Fiends.
Want more Something Scary? You can hear more stories over on the Something Scary podcast, available for free on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to your favorite shows. The links are in the description below. If you'd like to submit a story, send me an email at somethingscary@snarled.com. Like and share this video if it gave you the chills. And don't forget to subscribe to Snarled and turn on the bell for notifications. And if you dare, follow me on social media. Until next time, sweet dreams.